迎大家来到一个新的视频。那么今天我们又要花钱让 Joe Creator 在 Fiverr 上面 review 我们的一首歌。你们可能会说，为什么要花钱呢？因为我们在 Fiverr 上面找他，他会去分析这首歌到底是怎么样。这首歌呢是来自我的微信好友，先发给弹幕说相不相信，好不好？等到最后我跟你们说到底是不是微信好友。我们要听龚琳娜这首歌，我之前听过，荷兰的专业的音乐人，当时也惊讶了，惊呆了。
I have the feeling like it's almost like one foot is in the now and the other foot is like in ancient history.
惊讶了，惊呆了，I don't know。那么今天我们要看 JoJo。これは人間をやめるぞ，JoJo。Joe Ye, 你講未啊 Joe Ye, what do you think about
I'm
it?
Joe Creator, and you've asked me to review a song by龚琳娜called Flowing Creek. Before getting into it this time, I've just done a little bit of reading that was provided to me. It was really interesting actually to read before getting into and listening to the song. It uses what a Western musician would call a pentatonic scale.
五声音阶一般指大调五声音阶，就是拿大调音阶去掉发跟西，剩下哆瑞咪嗦啦。用这个五声音阶很容易做出中国风的效果。还有一个小技巧是随便弹弹钢琴上的黑键。
来一起念 pentatonic.
The different notes of the scale: gong, shang, zhu, z, and yu. Okay.
感觉好可爱呀，有点像我讲荷兰语的时候。这里Joe也说了很多专业的话，我担心我们一会儿就睡着了，所以我放在最后面了。我们先来听音乐。
It's actually a Chinese folk song from 1947. Quite an old tune, but I guess, this is quite a modernized performance of it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's listen to it.
期待吗？
So I think to me, with not much knowledge, I guess that she's going to sing very traditionally in terms of performing this song. It's an interesting singing style because it's very dynamic. When she starts a syllable or starts a word, it's very quiet, very quickly becomes loud, and then back to quiet. It's almost like starting each word softly and then really pushing it out and then draining it back down again. That's something that you mainly hear, I guess, in more operatic styles of singing.
如果我听的话，我就觉得他控制的很厉害 ，and then 他都听了那么多，然后又说在 opera 可以听到这个樣子。
Say more like opera in some instances rather than modern styles of singing. I can't wait for these drums to come in a bit.
我就比较好奇，为什么歌啊翻译到 Romeo？
I think you can tell she's really concentrating on how she pronounces those words, as I said. So it keeps a very similar melody, but we have these backing vocals coming in as well.
我知道那个是她德国的老公 I know 我知道的
You can hear those different intervals actually, especially in the backing vocals. You hear those pentatonic intervals. Oh, nice work by the strings there. the range here. It's sort of frantically building in the back. He keeps it quite calm in the way that she's singing, but everything else around is getting more and more frantic. I mean, you can see it just in the guys on the drums behind. Oh wow. That's how you hit a high note. Interesting as well, if we go back to that, when she hits that note, the band and the strings almost back her up to give her that confidence, which is quite interesting. So you can hear that we sort of introduce this strings melody, which moves the song forward. We have these galloping strings, and then we move from these galloping strings to this really strong descending straight melody to go along with the change in the vocals as well, hitting this high note, and these guys are having a great time looking at each other. She's sort of coming down now. I mean, moving between these notes is not easy.
我蛮喜欢那个三个人就是互相厉害，超级厉害。
It's difficult to describe just how hard it is to be able to perfectly be able to do these jumps in. 'Obviously we're back to this galloping rhythm and it changes the way that this feels. I guess this is the modernization. I really like that we have instruments backing up the melody now, really making it strong. Ooh, really sliding up to that end note. Awesome. And that's her husband, I believe, so he seems pretty happy with that as well.
再来聊聊工商角之语。
It uses what a Western musician would call a pentatonic scale, because a lot of sort of rock and roll from the West and everything was all built and played using the minor pentatonic.
他们吉他手会用的特别多。
That's something that every guitarist sort of picks up, is the minor pentatonic scale.
你知道吗？我不知道。
That is so easy to use and always effective because the harmonies, the difference in the notes, are really strong and always work. So this is also what is talked about here in terms of
get 到了没有？学到了没有啊？
You know, traditional Chinese music using also something similar to the pentatonic. It's also quite interesting because here you also have something else which is used in sort of modern Western music, which is modes. So here, and again, I may not pronounce this very well, but you have the different notes of the scale: gong, shang, zhu, Z and U.
我觉得这个用黑键会比较好一些，用这个。
Okay, and then a different point of the scale creates different intervals because they're not all evenly spread out, and then so that is exactly the same of modes in Western music, and we have names for these modes as well. So we have a similar thing in modern music. It's interesting because these are all starting at different points. We can do the same. So I guess here's an example of how to create the different modes is where you put your different intervals. So here it explains that the Dorian mode has the semitone.
用到了这两个黑键。
The smallest movement in between the notes at this point in the scale, whereas say Ionian.
其实就是大调，就是它。
has the semitone here between the third and the fourth, then it has it at the top as well. And this is all different things here. Okay, so we see that there's lots of different ones based around the Western scales.
我感觉今天学的有点多呢。
Which go up an octave. So say from here, white notes from E to E, so it just takes it from E to E, all these different notes. So that's interesting to me anyway, because obviously I don't know much about old and traditional Chinese music, but essentially it's obviously these scales are built slightly differently. It says almost the same as a major pentatonic scale, but not quite. It's just interesting that there's so many comparisons that you can make between this ancient and old music style and a modern one.
太有趣了。其实我从来没有这么去想。
I think we'll hear a lot of those traditional elements, and the reason that they may sound familiar is because we use them in modern Western music as well. And I think this is important because, as again I've been informed before listening to the song. So overall, I think that's something really different. I'm not sure that I can fully comprehend the tradition that's sort of being upheld there. I'm not super familiar with traditional Chinese music, but it's really interesting to listen to. So I guess the idea is to bring this song from being an old folk song in 1947 and modernizing it, which, as I sort of explained at the start, there's actually very strong connections between this old traditional Chinese music and
modern Western
modalities in Western and I guess as well, world modern music. So it's really interesting what they've done there to be able to do that while keeping the vocals very traditional. I think overall, to sort of give my own personal spin, this song in particular hasn't really grabbed me and didn't really grab me emotionally. I think because of my lack of understanding of the origins of the song and its meaning as well. But that doesn't change the fact that the performance was amazing, and I was really impressed by the vocals, especially the jumps in note that she's required to sing there.
我觉得那首歌的高潮的时候是最好听的。不好意思，我要打扰就那个高潮的时候真的太好听了。
And not only that, just the pitch that she's having to reach in some areas of the song is so high. I was really impressed by that, and she had a really controlled singing style to be able to accomplish that. And again, you have the traditional sort of timpani style drums in the background. They got really animated in their performance. So overall, I think it's really interesting song to listen to. I think it'd be interesting to hear a version of the song which is much older, which sticks to the original 1947 intention of how the song was written then, and just compare the two. So that's mainly what I think of the track. It was interesting because I was given a bit more info on the writing style of this traditional Chinese, and that allowed me to learn something as well. So thanks for letting me listen to this song and share my thoughts with you. And this is goodbye for now.
Thank you, Joe. Bye, Joe. 好，你们怎么看他的评价？我们给 Joe 打多少分？1到5，马上打分。我个人这首歌我一直在纠结要不要给他听，因为之前已经给那个荷兰的乐队听过，但是我个人就觉得每一次就是 That's that， 你听的时候真的。我眼睛都睁开了，就是完全打开了。说到Joe这一次，我蛮喜欢他的，真的不是说废话的。It didn't grab him， 这个不是他经常听的风格，或者他也没有那么深入的去爱上这首歌，但是听到这些，就觉得很有意思。而且我希望以后我们可以多给他一些资料，就给他听之前。好，那视频就是到这儿了，对不起。这首歌呢是来自我的微信好友，相不相信？等到最后跟你们说到底是不是微信好友。
你的粉丝是中国粉丝吧？是不是？我是很高兴啊，你把中国的音乐让这么多的西方的各个领域的专业人士来听。我觉得你这种方式来推荐中国音乐，也让中国的观众可以听到西方人对中国音乐的一个客观的评价，这是挺好。所以你不要小看你的力量哦，我觉得你做的真的是很好的一种这种传播。
希望大家喜欢。如果大家有什么其他的一些歌想让我们给Joe听，又让我们花450块钱，记得在评论区跟我们说，或者现在把弹幕刷起来。好了，拜。